right there. Thanks for staying with us here on Prime Morning. It's time for us to get into News Flash here on the show. It's proudly brought to you by Franco Trading Enterprise. Still phones, Papa Pathie. Mother's Day is just around the corner. Your mothers will be expecting something from you. She's been complaining about the air conditioning in that house, and she wants you to actually get her something of a change. And so you want to contact Franco Trading Enterprise right now and do that for your special mother. It's pretty simple. Those who want their television to also change, you can actually make sure that you do this for them, and you don't just want to get it from just any place. You want to make sure that it's of quality, and so please go to Franco Trading Enterprise and get that right now. Your office needs a CCTV camera, your homes, you can just get Franco Trading Enterprise to do that for you, and it's pretty simple. For you also who wants to buy a phone, well, we've got Nokia, we've got Samsung, we've got iPhone for you to buy from us. 40% discount we're giving on all accessories you buy from us as well, and that's what Franco Trading Enterprise is all about. Don't forget, our branches are always open. You can just walk in there and make any inquiries and also make a purchase as well. Now call the numbers you see on your screens and speak to us. You can download the app. It's the Franco Trading app on Google Play Store, and you can also go on our website. It's www.francotrading.com, and you can get all the updates you need over there as well. The branches, the gadgets, the new ones we've brought, and all of those you can get once you go to the website as well, and you can get all the updates over there. Franco Trading Enterprise says, still phones, Papa Pathie. We've got the very best of customer service, and we're just patiently waiting for you to get in there and do business with us. Please do not pick any number on social media and call or do business with. Call the numbers that you see on your screens. Those are the two numbers that you can reach us on and do all the inquiries that you want to do. Franco Trading Enterprise says, still phones, Papa Pathie. This morning, we'll be looking at the front page of the various newspapers that we have over here, and then we're getting to our substantive issue. We're looking at a very, very, very important issue. The President, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, made a social contract with the people of Ghana. Now, it's 120 days yesterday, and he came to give an account of what he has been able to do, what he intends to do, and what he's in the process of doing. But we're going to be looking at all of them and then see if indeed it is reflective of what exactly he said he has done, and what is on the ground is reflective of what he said he has done. And so you can also bring your ratings. Yesterday we saw a lot of ratings. Some say 70. Samuel, who said he's giving him 48% on PM Express yesterday. The other political analysts who have also given their verdict on that in terms of what he has done so far. We're going to be looking at all of those and see. You can also send us your verdict. Let us know what you think, which percentage you intend to give him, and if you think or you're positive that in the coming days he will be able to achieve the others that he has not been able to achieve yet. So that's our major conversation for this morning. So please do send your messages and let us know what you think. Our WhatsApp line is active. We're streaming live on Facebook. You can also send your messages over there as well. My guest will be joining me here this morning for us to take a look at it. And already, Emmanuel Senyo is here with me. He's a national communication team member for the MPP. Also, Kwame Griffiths will be joining us this morning as well. But let me find out from Emmanuel how he's doing, and then I'll check out the front page of the newspapers. How is it? Everything good?
Everything is good by God's grace. At least if we are alive, we should be grateful to God.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I hope you're also doing well.
I'm very well, my brother. Thanks for asking. I was tempted to actually ask you how life has been at opposition. I don't know.
In fact, I think that it's something I'm expecting you to ask, because I think that the whole of this year, this is my first time seeing you the whole of this year. So let me use the opportunity to wish you a happy new year, and your cherished viewers as well a happy new year. Opposition is good. It's good, and I think that you can always have it the way you want it. At some point in time, it will be the other side, and at one point in time, it will be the other way around. So for me, I think that it's a good thing. Ghanaians have, declared their verdict, and we have a new government in place. Let's give them the opportunity to deliver in terms of their promises. And I think that is one of the key things that we'll be speaking on this morning. So for me, I think that the opposition is good. We are, just as you know, the MICOE committee has presented its report, and the leadership of the party is working across the divide to ensure that at least everything that went wrong is resolved for us to, make sure that we fortify ourselves very well ahead of the the 2028 election. So for me, I think that it's good to be in opposition.
In the report, were you surprised about some of the things that came up? You were on the grounds, you were, here on the show and all of that. Were you surprised some of the things that you read from the, or came out of the report?
Well, it looks like you want to... Well, I wouldn't say that. I have not seen the report myself. But
but there were certain comments that came out. Yeah. Even on the thank you tour, some things that have come out.
There are issues that have come out on the thank you tour, but I don't think that means that these are issues from the report, because I have not heard the leadership of the party saying that, okay, this is an extract from the report and all of that. But I think that there are some few things that are very common that we all know of, and these are things that are probably in page 66, the famous page 66 that is in circulation. And for me, I think it's just a good time for us to resolve some of these things and make sure that it does not repeat itself very well. Our friends learned when they went in opposition, the Kwesi Butcher committee sat down. They did their analysis. I'm sure that it's contributing to what we are seeing today in terms of few changes and here and there. So for me, I think that whatever that happened in terms of the report, solid would ensure that leadership put things together in order for such things not to repeat itself should we have the opportunity to come to power. But let me quickly use your platform to wish my regional organizer, Kwesi Boja, Emmanuel Kwesi Boja, who is a very hard-working gentleman, a happy birthday, and a very good friend of mine, a lawyer for that matter, who is Edinam Amma Abusa. I also want to wish you a very happy birthday, and to all the lovely people and good people of the Volta region, particularly the New Patriotic Party members. Being in the Volta region and being a member of the New Patriotic Party, it's actually a very hectic one. So I want to say a big kudos to everybody, particularly the youth of the region. They are doing very well, but I'm sure that in the coming days, we'll chart a new path, and inshallah,
2028 is possible. All right, so that's Emmanuel Senyo this morning. He's going to be here with us here on News Flash. But let me go through the newspapers, and also we're expecting, in fact, Mr. Osekwame Griffith is also here. So let me just run through the newspapers, and then we'll come back and look at the issues that we're taking a look at this morning. Now, Daily Graphic this morning is speaking on a few issues, and it says Mahama fulfills was 72% 120-day pledge. That's on the front page of the Daily Graphic. Mahama's government shows promise, but challenges loom. Citizen reassess 120 days in office. Tackling complexities of Galamsey government pledges to fund pollutant removal from rivers, farmlands, and MPs demand action on Odo River encroaches. That's also captured on the front page of the Daily Graphic today. At the back page is got over there, LATMA Assembly members reject MCE nominee call for Akrong, and UPS inaugurates new police station to boost campus community security. That's also captured on the back page of Daily Graphic. Now, let me go to the Ghanaian Times. The Ghanaian Times says that beyond 120 days, focus on bringing relief to Ghanaians. Dr. Sakara says so. And Times Needy Fund, also captured on the front page, going to demonstrate global leadership in immunization. Gavi Boss and BOG's gold reserves increased to 31.37 tons, and it seemed to be doing some magic for the city as well in terms of the exchange rate. And 10-member task force for new national airline inaugurated, works on 1.6 kilometers, storm drain progress steadily. And that's also the Ghanaian Times today. Let me go on the front page of the Overseer, and it says 5 arrested in Ashanti region for illegal water connection, and we made promises and we've kept them. Mahama says so. Guta hails government for city stability, and also no more harassment will support businesses in tax collection. GRA boss. And away from that, jubilation galore as CMC welcomes new MD. and that's the cocoa marketing company. Now, attention Bruce at Ministry of Education as Haruna Idrisu retains NPP appointees. That's also captured on the front page of the Overseer. Now, let me go to the next one that I have here, which is... Okay, so this one says, attention of GRA, our staff demand shake-up. President Mahama appoints Professor Emmanuel Senyo as board chairman of Ghana College of Physicians and Surgeons. Linda Oklu challenges new mayors to deliver. And Interpol, Ghana Police fall cross and the border kidnap syndicate. That's also on the front page. Now, let me go to the New Republic, which is my last paper this morning. It says that Mahama's stronger start in 120 days, no scandals, CD climbs, inflation falls, and EC boss in the hot seat as ashes of conflict trace back to Galamsey pits at Abrewa Ninkran. That's reported by the New Republic. Mahama settles Hajj board debts, and Kush epidemic sweeps West Africa. 762 billion Ghana cedis spent on unused food every year, and Third Force Alliance backs the Chief Justice suspension. That's also the New Republic this morning reporting on those issues. So these are the reports that the various newspapers are bringing up today. You grab a copy and then you can read all about it, and we'll move on to our major issue. But Mr. Kwame Griffiths has joined us this morning. And he's the former director for the National Education Authority. How are you doing, sir?
Doing very well, pretty well.
How's the week been? It's been good?
Yes, so far it's been very good.
And I'm sure you were very excited yesterday listening to the president.
I didn't listen to him because I was teaching, but after that I've had the opportunity to read the document and listen to some commentaries on it. So
it looks good?
Well, I mean, you could, before even he spoke, I mean, most of my brother-in-law called me yesterday from the US, and he's complaining that he used to send, when he sends $100, it's 1,700 CDs, and now it's down to 1,300. And I'm like, you know what, I can't complain because I think that it's good for the economy, you know. So, I mean, inflation is down. The exchange rate, CD is doing very well. If you go by what Dr. Bawumia said, you can do all the propaganda you want, but the exchange rate would expose you. So in this case, the exchange rate is not exposing, it is vindicating, you know, the government for a good job done in the first 120 days.
Okay. All right. So let's take a look at this. Some of the things that, now I have fulfilled promises and then ongoing promises and yet to be fulfilled. So we're going to run through them quickly and then we'll have our conversation. So in terms of the fulfilled promises, the nomination of a full list of cabinets, those are the fulfilled promises. The formation of a leaner government, code of conduct, hosting a national economic dialogue, organizing a national education dialogue, launching the Tree for Life and Blue Water, no fee stress, carry out shake-up of laws making at SOEs, abolition of taxes, that's the COVID levy, all of those emission levy and all of that. 1 million coders program, Mahama Cares, a Jumara program. Now, free tertiary education for disabled, free sanitary pad for girls initiative, Black Star experience, seed money for Women's Development Bank, establishment of Accelerated Export Development Council, compensation of flood victims allocation in budgets. So these are the fulfilled promises that the president actually had with the people of Ghana. Now, the ongoing promises and then the yet to be fulfilled promises, I'm going to mention them in a couple of minutes, but let's take a look at this, and then I'll come back and mention a few of the ongoing promises and the yet to be fulfilled promises as well.
Draconian taxes to alleviate hardship and ease the high cost of doing business.
So this is the first time in a very long time that we are seeing that
the E-levy,
to the dollar has been
the COVID levy,
very good news.
The 10% levy on bet winnings, and the emissions levy within my first 90 days in office. These tax expenditure measures were central to our 2025 budget statement. On April 2nd, 2025, I signed several bills into law, including the electronic transfer levy E-Levy Repeal Bill 2025, the Emissions Levy Repeal Bill, and the Betting Tax. We have delivered on 3 of these 4 specific tax repeals as promised. The COVID levy has intricate linkages to the existing IMF program. As a value-added tax, we have agreed with our multilateral partners to include it in our overall VAT rationalization exercise that is scheduled for September this year. We've significantly exceeded our 120-day promises regarding overall tax reform by enacting other critical bills such as the Value-Added Tax Amendment Bill, the Income Tax Amendment Bill, the removal of VAT on motor vehicles, the Public Financial Management Bill, the Growth and Sustainability Levy Act, the Earmarked Funds Capping and Realignment Bill, the Gold Board Bill, the Energy Sector Levy Bill, and the Petroleum Revenue Amendment Bill.
All right, so that's the president speaking yesterday when he gave an account of the 120-day social contract that he had with Ghanaians. And earlier, I was mentioning some of them to you. I mentioned those that has been fulfilled and those that are ongoing. Investigation into Ahmed Swale's death ongoing. Investigation into SkyTrain, that's ongoing. Probe into Akosombo's pillage. And then the ones that are yet to be fulfilled had in the review taxes on vehicles, commencement of 24-hour economy, review of customs Amendment Act 2020, new bill to streamline government scholarship, investigative processes to purge state security agencies of vigilante elements, and reopen probes into 2020 election, by-election, the by-elections, and the also West killing as well, and policy banning the purchases of state assets. These are the ones that are yet to be fulfilled according to the reports that he gave yesterday. But let me introduce my next guest in the studio, Dr. John Osai Kwapon. Has joined us this morning. He's a political analyst. Doc, a very big thank you to you for joining us this morning.
My pleasure. Good morning. Good morning to everyone else.
Great. Now, we're going to go on it, but let me just find out from Ima. I want to start off with you.
The main government.
The one in government. The reason being that I want your initial remarks on the presentation that was done yesterday, and then we'll get into those that have been fulfilled and those that have not been. Watching the president or listening to the president, from what we have seen on all occasions, you think that the president was honest with the people of Ghana in terms of what he has said he has done and what he has said he has not done?
Well, thank you very much. Once again, a very good morning to my colleagues. And then my brother, Graphics, I think it's been 5 years. I got to know him back in Gempa.
Oh, okay. He's a big man.
Oh, he's a big man. He's a big man. He was a legal advisor or chief justice to the graduate student association.
I was doing my master's in public administration.
Yeah, when I was doing energy economics.
Okay.
And then I attempted contesting for a grassroots president, and he and his group. So it reminds me of those days. Anyway, fast forward. Looking at the president yesterday, for me, at the beginning, when he didn't start speaking, they were giving prelude of events that has taken place. And I was asking myself, is this what I'm going to watch? I waited after some few minutes, then finally the man himself landed. He gave us his presentation. Sincerely speaking, if you ask me, I wish he had not addressed the nation yesterday. We could have just had any of his people. Felix could have just done this for us. Because it was more or less like just reading. Yes, we know the things, the 26 social contract in terms of the 120 days. We know the very things that you said that you were going to do within the 120 days. But what I deduced from what he did yesterday is just like a student whom we know that this student is a failure. Every time you are giving an exam, you've been failing and failing and failing. And for the first time, knowing very well that, oh, you are improving. You want the whole world to know that, Charlie, I am not that failure that you know me to be. That is exactly what the president did yesterday. And for me, I think that's a good start. At least we know that the then John Dramani Mahama that we know in his first era, this time, things are changing. So it's good that he's giving us that picture. And I wish that and hope that he keeps that picture in that perspective so that the kind of leadership that is expected, it remains in that level or he even improves on it. So for me, in a whole, if you ask me, I'll tell you that what he did yesterday is not anything as a Newton.
It's not so special.
It's not so special. It's not so anything extraordinary that we should be, clapping our hands for him that he's done well. No. Just as I said, it's just like an ordinary student who used to fail his exam. But this time around, knowing very well that you are trying to get at par with a grade B student. So for that matter, we need to applaud you that you are doing a great job. Kudos to you. Continue. That's what he did yesterday. And I wish the president all the best and the entire NDC government. For us, I don't think anybody would want to wish the leadership of this nation doom. We want Ghana to grow. We want Ghana to, move forward. So we wish them well. We want to see them help in the development of the country.
Okay. Doc, you a political analyst. Now, let's look at it from the not entirely moral aspect of it, but promises kept or promises delivered. You think that from what we saw yesterday, the president has been able to level up in terms of the confidence that people have in him and, the belief they have in him in fulfilling the other promises that he has said that he's going to do? You think that it increases it somewhat or it doesn't add anything to it?
Thank you and good morning once again. It at least keeps the goodwill and the confidence level at a point that you want to make sure you are still in good sync with the people of Ghana, right? So if you put it within the context of the 2024 election, right? So here you are, you win an election after having lost the first 3 elections ago. Here you are now, people of Ghana repose this level of new confidence in you. It's a massive victory. Then you proceed to make this 120-day social contract with the people of Ghana. So it is only important that at the end of that 120th day mark, you would come back and engage the very citizens that you made this contract with. Give them an update. You want to make sure that in such an update, you have at least fulfilled as many of the things in the social contract as possible. Because as you rightly mentioned, these things at the end of the day hinges on credibility, on trust, and on confidence. So even on the things that you still haven't been able to give it a complete check mark, you still want to be able to explain to the citizens that, look, these are the things, here are the updates, I haven't totally forgotten them, I haven't totally ignored them, we are actually working on it, and here's your update. I think all of those things put together enables you to continue to keep the faith with Ghanaians, and Ghanaians will continue to keep the faith in you. Because the thing you don't want to risk is Ghanaians saying, oh, but you said you would do these things. We are not seeing them. You've not done them. And the next time around when you say, well, my government will do these other things in the next coming months, it can put citizens in a place where they, well, what about the other things, So for me, that is a good thing. Right?
Okay.
That it cements that trust and that confidence between the president and Ghanaians, and you want to keep that going.
Okay. So you mentioned that it was even unnecessary for the president to have done this himself. I mean, Felix could have done this. You think it would have played the same role if Felix had done it instead of the president?
I think the president doing it gives it a different importance. Not to say that, the Honorable Felix is not important, right? And yes, he could have just engaged Ghanaians and given us the update. But this is a social contract between the government and the citizens of Ghana, embodied in the president, right? He's the one who said, this is my contract with you.
Yeah.
So for me, it is just as important then that the person who made the contract with Ghanaians should be the one to come back and face the Ghanaian people and say, remember the contract we made, here's an update on that. It just gives it a different level of importance coming straight from the president who made the contract with Ghanaians.
And does it resonate well with what the people will think moving forward, that the president could have let any other person do it, but you respecting us, let me put it in that way, and coming to do it yourself alone tells us that you are with us in this journey we're all moving on.
It has that potential effect that, you view it as important enough that you are not designating it to someone else to come into it, that you want to engage with us directly. And so, yes, it does, add that level of importance to it as well.
Okay, let me get to Mr. Sekwane. We all know, that we're going to get to this point at a time,
yes.
As to whether we're able to establish that we've done so much before we get to this point was another conversation.
Right.
But are you impressed that His Excellency has been able to, come out, let Ghanaians know that this is what we said we're going to do. We have been able to do it. And we'll be looking at the ratings that have come up shortly, but let me find out your
first of all, I'm very, very happy to hear some of the things that I hadn't, to read. I couldn't hear it live. Some of the things that, some of the achievements that have been chalked. But let me begin by saying that I think that I want to agree with my brother here that it was important that the president himself address the nation on some of the things that he has been able to achieve within the first 120 days, because it is him that Ghanaians overwhelmingly gave this mandate to. He was on the ticket, as the head of the ticket. So it's out of respect for the people of Ghana, those who either voted or didn't vote. He's the president of everybody. It is important that he makes them aware of how far we have come as a nation. I began my initial comment by saying that, having said that, Ghanaians didn't need the president to have made these comments alone for them to see that things are getting better. I remember Dr. Baumia saying that, it's a pocket issues. The exchange rate and stuff like that is what tells you whether you are doing well as a government or not. We know that fuel prices are going down. The exchange rate is doing so well. Last week, I needed to make some exchange changes, and I paid, I think, 14.8 for the dollar. Today is down. Yesterday I asked because I needed to change some more, and it is down. The euro is also coming down. Initially, I thought that it was the dollar that was not performing, but the euro is like 15 points, almost 16. The dollar interbank rate is 13 point something. These are exchange rates that went as far as to 17 point, 17 point something. So inflation is, on a rapid decline, going down so much. So I think that on that indicators alone, you can tell that something positive is beginning to happen to the economy, and so I think that it was important that the president, made clear what he has been able to do so far. But let me begin by the formation of his team, because the first thing that you need to do is to put together a team that is, a competent team that would deliver on all the promises that you have put together in your contract, with the people of Ghana. Within 14 days, he had finished nominating his cabinet. That's unprecedented in this country. As I speak to you now, almost all the, to the extent where SOEs, chief executives, their deputies, MMDCs, they have all been nominated. I mean, I can only count just about a handful of them where there are issues to do with issues with the people that were shortlisted. But all these things are in place now. And they are in various stages of approval when it comes to the MMDCs. So that alone tells you this is a government that is serious. He's also had 3 major meetings with his appointees, warning them that, his government is not, a government of the kinds we have seen in the past, where you come into the public service to enrich yourself. And that not even, monetary terms, in terms of, corruption and stuff like that, but also even the way you conduct yourself. There's a whole code of conduct for the first time in the history of this country that would more or less, guide the conduct of government appointees in this country. So, and if I should touch on a few of the taxes, for example, that he had promised to, it's just one of them that hasn't been done yet, and it's because, of the way it has to be held and the role it plays within, the IMF program that, we are currently implementing. So September thereabout is set for it to come alive. The Ejumara program, the 1 million coders program, where we are going to have an incubator of IT startups in this country that would sell technological services. Because when I looked at that program, I said, you know what, whoever put this together is either a genius or an idiot. It would be an idiot to think that a country that has the patient to doctor ratio being so high, patient to teacher, the nurses ratio being so high, pupil to teacher ratio being so high, we would need, for every 40 people in this country, we will need, because let's say we are 40 million people. To train 1 million coders, we will need 1 coder per 40. But you see, when you look at it in the light of how the Indians have done it, the Indians have actually, just like we are planting cocoa, they have set incubators for developers, trained them, and export those services to the rest of the world. And in 2024 alone, they made $200 billion as revenue, just like we have Cocoa Board that is selling our cocoa and we are getting revenue, foreign exchange. They are tapping on the energy and brilliance of their young people, some of them just 12 years old, putting them into programming and stuff like that. And they set up, giving them entrepreneurial skills, and they set them up to sell services to the rest of the world.
It's the same thing that we're going to be seeing in what
yes.
that we have launched.
And let me tell you this, I had to sign up with the University of Texas to do another master's. That will be my 5th and hopefully the last one, in artificial intelligence. Do you know that the people, my program advisor is in India? The person who actually got me interested in the program, the lady who got me actually is sitting in India, but working for University of what? Texas. You see, these are the things that we need. We need to look at how to move away from traditionally what we have sold to the rest of the world to bring us revenue. You see, what we have a lot of, our population is very young. How do we engage them in a way that would make them productive, not only to Ghana? We don't need 1 million coders, do we? No. We can't hire, I don't think we can even hire 100,000 of them. But the rest of the world can. So these are some of the programs that I think, and the 24-hour economy, Secretariat has been set up. You see, most of these things are in the state of drafting legislation and presenting bills to Parliament and what have you. And even with that, you can tell that the confidence that people are showing, the demand the pressure of the dollar is going down. The Treasury bill rate is going way down. I mean, faster than I thought it would even be. So I think so far, things are very positive.
Okay, we'll be looking at some of the things that we mentioned. And Doc, I'll come to you and ask you about what you make of Imani's, what they believe is their own assessment of the president. And then you speak on that for me. But let me go to Senyo. Senyo, most of the things have been achieved, I mean, from what we have seen. And a lot of people will be looking at implementation, execution, because most of the things that have been launched now would have to get into the details of making the impact on the lives of Ghanaians. Do you see that happening? Or you think it's the usual talk shop where we have launched it, we have decided that this is what we want to do. At the end of the day, it will be 2 years we're not seeing the impact. Is that what we're going to be seeing?
Well, I think that social contract is social contract. However, in order for the government to look good and also make sure that they maintain the goodwill that they are having from the people, they've tried their best in order to make sure that they still have that kind of rapport that would give a good picture to the government. Now, for me, when you ask me, I'll tell you that it's just one of those things. Yes, the government have done well in terms of some of its promises, but I think that they've not done pretty much well. When you ask me, the government have done very well in one key thing that I think that the youth of this nation must applaud him for.
Okay. Which is
the mass termination of legitimate workers in public sectors. The youth of this nation, they must applaud John Dramani Mahama for terminating their legitimate jobs. People who have got employment for the last 6 years, the last 4 years, you just exit them like that without a reason. That we should applaud him. He's done very well. It should be one of the key things that we should be talking about.
Yeah, they gave some of the reasons to some of the places that
I am telling you that he has actually sacked over 21,000 people. And out of these,
that is total.
In total,
but
out
some
of these,
the areas they gave reasons why those decisions were made.
I'm coming. Out of these 21,000, there are people who I think that legitimately they have their jobs. For example, in Ministry of Communication, the Osafo Manfo guy who was sacked, what was the reason for him being sacked?
They told some of them to reapply because they want to follow.
Osafo Manfo guy who has been in the system for the last 5 years, he should reapply? Is that what the labor law says? You go to Petroleum Commission, a very good friend of mine, Mustafa, he's been sacked. There are countless and a lot of people who have been legitimately sacked without, I don't know. So I think that we should applaud him. It's part of, he's done what? 120 days sacking, mass termination. Come on, the youth of this nation, they must rise and applaud him for sacking them. And this is the same person who is telling us that he is doing a Jumaura or whatever. And yesterday I listened to him and he said one thing. He said, well, they are looking at expansion in terms of job creation. And I asked myself, the same person who is sacking people who have legitimate job, you are telling us that you want to expand jobs? You want to create more jobs? What are you telling us? Robbing Paul to pay Peter? Or robbing Peter to pay Paul? Is that what you are telling us? No, we must tell them straight to their face that no, yes, you are getting this right, but we think that you are not getting this right. So for me, I think that on the score, in terms of the 120 days, he's done well in terms of the mass termination. Kudos to him. They should continue. That is one. Then you come to the aspect of the betting tax. Bravo. I am very, very happy that
the NPP would have done the same.
Of course, because it was part of our manifesto. We promised that we're going to cancel it. So for me, kudos to him. The issue of e-levy, kudos to him, because we're going to do the same thing. But you know, surprisingly,
under Baumia,
that decision was going to be done.
The same administration that actually passed that law.
Fine. But interestingly, what got me intrigued was that, you know, e-levy was 1%. And the betting tax is 10%. When you add these two percentages together, it makes what? 11%. Nicodemously, the PRC boss, Suleimana, who at some point on his social media handle was complaining that Ghanaians are in hardship. I have a screenshot of that. They should come and tell me that it's a lie. Who was complaining when tariffs are increased? He was complaining that Ghanaians are in hardship. He and his boss, Honorable John Jinapo, together with the energy cabals, they have come together and they have imposed 14% plus on a tariff on electricity and 4.02 on water. And you think that we should not be happy that in the 120 days John Mahama has done well? Who knows? He's done well. He has robbed us in a very nice way, but he's telling us that
they all had different impacts on the people. If you're looking at e-levy and the effect that it had on the youth,
Ghanaians are not having
with mobile money and all of that. These are different.
You see, in the past, we were in this country when we were told that we have dead goat syndrome. But this time around, our eyes are widely open. I keep applauding Dr. Baumia for the purposes of, digitalization. It will always remind us of the things that happened in the past. So we know that if you are cancelling e-levy, which is 1%, you are cancelling betting tax, which is 10%. Why would you, Nicodemously, just all of a sudden rub it on our face that, so I told you about I've cancelled. And he was happily showing us the document. I've cancelled. I have signed it. Yes, we have seen that you have cancelled. Show us the document that you have also imposed. Very soon, we'll start paying it. And is it reflecting in our pockets? That is what we should be asking. But fast forward, this government rode on the shoulders of Galamsey and the lives of Vomawa, the lives of all the activists. What didn't we hear in this country? And on your show, you record that I have always said that when it comes to Galamsey, we should not give it a political colorization or a political party, whatever that this Galamsey issue has to do with this party. But the NDC consistently hit on the fact that you were going to ride on that. Today, you are seeing it yourself. One of your colleagues, who is in Joy, Erastus, keeps giving us updates on what is happening. The surprising thing is that the minority then who was calling for repealing of the LI 2462. Today, what happened to the LI? I heard a president telling us that they've presented a bill to Parliament, they are looking at amendment. Is that what you told us? Is that what you told us, Mr. President? You told us that when we vote for you, in your first 120 days, you make sure that LI is repealed. That we don't.
It has to go through.
We don't mine in forest areas.
You think you're not working through that process?
When it came to the issue of goat board, do you see the exigency in executing that? Under certificate of agency, they did it because they knew that no coffee will enter into their pockets. That is why they did that. But in terms of repealing the LI, they did not do it. And you think that we should not applaud them? Kudos, you are doing well, Mr. President. Now, fast forward again. Another interesting thing that we should look at, that I think the Ghanaians must be very watchful. In the last 8 years, I can count the number of times that there were intermittent power supply in my area. But just within this year, if I tell you the number of doomsor that has taken place in my area, I don't know of my colleagues, but I've seen Erastus, who keeps complaining, your colleague from Joy.
I've seen a few, but there are other people
who have been updating. I've seen the likes of Umaru Sanda complaining.
Does that amount to doomsor? Is that what a typical doomsor that we're looking at?
It is typical doomsor. But you see, one thing I want us to understand is that it is different from managing a government. It is also different from talking. Managing government is not a PR job. I think that the John Dramani Mahama administration, they lied their way into power. They did PR gimmick. and entered into government. And today, it is actually being thrown.
Ghanaians were so vulnerable that they fell for this.
This is a man who told us that.
Was it not because the young people?
This is a man who told us that. This is a man who told us that we have dead goat syndrome, and he thinks that he can use that, rub it on our face, lie to us. And you see, Ghanaians fall for it.
The people of Ghana choose a lie over somebody who presumably was doing better than lies.
Ghanaians fall for
and I'm asking,
Mahama is the hope.
So that's what I'm asking.
Is the hope.
No, that's
never the hope. So it's never the hope. No.
Can you just take my question? I'm asking you that if the NPP was doing better than the lies, why would the people of Ghana choose lies over the person who seems to be?
I agree that in one way or the other we did not do well. And the angel, the Pope, who would have come to preach to the saints or to his congregants and let the congregant believe him, he did that, not knowing the Pope himself was just wearing a white cloth, without knowing that he has something black under his the white end that he was putting on. So for me, I think that Mahama is the hope. It's not rather Mahama is the hope. It's rather Mahama is the hope. That is what he is trying to.
All right, the last thing I want to talk about. Let me go to talk.
The last thing I want to talk about.
I'll come to you.
The last thing I want to talk about.
Yeah, and let me get.
They preach to us that 24-hour economy. Yes, it's a fantastic thing that we'll all appreciate. And I like the part of Imani yesterday when they segregated it in terms of the sectors and the ones that will be very effective. And there was one thing the president said yesterday, which I want to link to the 24-hour economy. He said that the police department is creating a unit for 24-hour economy. But the question I ask is, already we have a 24-hour police servicing working. Do we need to label a department 24-hour unit? When we now it's not the issue. The issue is the bread and butter. The issue is about making sure that you stop commissioning and constituting committees. So far, you are aware that Mahama has done over 10 committees, which is constituting over 110 people. Are you aware? He has done that. For me, I think that these are just premeditated, because knowing very well that the 120 days is up to, he has to quickly make sure that some of the things are rushed, so that at least we know that he's working. And in the same vein, I want to tell you that when you look at all of these things, some of the things that he rushed, when did the code of ethics, what was it launched? It was launched 3 days ago. The issue of the accelerated export committee that he formed, it was also formed 3 days ago. Knowing well that the days are catching up with him, he quickly have to make sure that he put up something to see to it that, just like an ordinary diarrhea patient who knows very well that he or she is having diarrhea, for the sake of not running too much, you have to get a purgative that will sustain the diarrhea small so that you find a lasting solution to it. He quickly have to commission those committees in place so that you know that, yes, he has done it. He is just like a diarrhea patient who has given us a half-baked purgative to make sure that at the end of the day, we are, in between. He's here to look for the right things that are supposed to be done. So for me, he's doing well, but he must do better than we are seeing now.
Okay, all right. Doc, Imani said that 50% of the promises have been completed, 42% are partially completed, and 8% of them remain unfulfilled. And this is the assessment of the 120 days that the president has had. Do you go with this? There have been others who have also given certain percentage. In fact, yesterday, Samuel Ogu said he's giving the president 48% based on some of the things that he has seen the president do and what he has not done yet. Do you think that I don't know of the others that you have heard, but do you think that the kind of percentages that were given to the president is a reflective of what we have seen on the grounds?
And I think I also saw one from the Honorable Felix that said, I think 20 out of the 26 have been fully completed. So that puts it at, I think, 70-something.
Exactly. In fact, the Daily Graphic reported 72%.
Yes. Yeah. And I think if I also saw one from Joy, it said 17. Was it 17?
Yes, 17. And then there's one NPP lady who has also given another percentage. I think it was around 42 or something.
Right.
Yeah.
So
a Kuyama or something, one of the
correct.
President also gave that.
So for me, right, the basic way that you can score it is to look at all the 26 things, right? And then, which one can you check off and which one can't you check off? And if you can really verify that, promise one
it is there.
Is there.
That's also another process.
Right. Then you
whether
check
it is the truth or not.
Right. Whether it's the truth or not, has it been done? Check. But for me, the bigger question, which it will take a lot more time, is in assessment. The question we ultimately ask is, all the things that you've done, what difference has it made or is it going to make? And I think that's a question that you cannot really answer in 120 days, right? The full effect of all of these policies and programs will take time to mature, for it to be felt, for it to move the needle forward on issues of governance, the economy, and things like that. So yes, it is important to demonstrate that you've checked as many things off the social contract. But the medium to the long-term question really is about impact and what difference it is making. I mean, credit to the things that were stated in the 120-day social contract, and credit to the things that have been done. I believe it sets the right tone for how the president wants to govern this time around. I've been saying that from my observations and everything, I believe that he wants the second presidency to look distinct from the first. If you look at the code of conduct, especially, and the tone that it is trying to set, it moves away from just looking at, especially the issues of conflict of interest, as strictly a legal thing, but also even just the appearance of some of those things, right? So again, those for me are positive developments. Time ultimately is what would make us see the full impact of all of these different ideas, policies, and programs.
Beyond the launch, commissioning, and all of that, it is important, like you mentioned, that we see these things reflecting. Now, what is going to be the state of the people if in a year or two, all of these things that have been launched and all that are not really reflecting on the grounds? Is it going to have an effect on the president, or by goodwill, they're still going to believe that he said he would do it? Let's give him time, projectively.
Three scenarios can emerge, and let me use data from the Afrobarometer survey to show how these scenarios can emerge. So if you look at President Kufuor's time, there were 3 rounds of the Afrobarometer, 2002, 2005, 2008. The trajectory you see is in 2002, government has been in office for about 2 years. The ratings were really good. Ghanaians felt good about the economy, governance issues, support for democracy, all of those things. But by the end of the first term, when another Afrobarometer was done in 2005, you see some declines in a couple of areas. I remember when I wrote about the former president and I asked him, he said, well, at that point, you have experienced a full term of, my presidency. Things that I've promised are still ongoing. You are yet to feel the full effect, so I can see that dip, in support on some key things. But by 2008, you see exactly, and I mean, it was even much better than 2002. If you look at the Kufuor presidency, same thing. 2017. Very good ratings in Afrobarometer. You see a dip in 2019, but then when CDD Ghana did the pre-election survey in 2020, you see improvements. But then by Afrobarometer around 9 and 10, 2022, 2024, you see that dip, and that dip where Ghanaians are expressing a lot more dissatisfaction, angst about the economy, governance issues. So I say all of that to say, you're right. As the policies are implemented, a year or two, if the policies are implemented effectively and efficiently, right, and Ghanaians are beginning to feel a difference, a real impact in the economics, they can even see that or feel that the governance environment is is changing, right? They've seen some major improvements. Then you can get that scenario where people would look back and say,
this is it.
This is it. I'm glad I gave you my mandate. I'm glad that we're on this path. If challenges arise, if they are still not feeling it, and that's, our politicians have always been saying, at the end of the day, is what you feel in your pocket, is all of those things. It can also have that other effect of some dissatisfaction growing. So all of it, for me, will depend on how the government conducts itself in office, how it ensures that all the policies and programs are being implemented with fidelity, whatever challenges that arise. Because again, in governance, things may come your way that you didn't even anticipate.
Situations and all that.
And how you manage those things and insulate your economy, your people from some of those things is what ultimately would make the difference. And I'm sure that, especially for the the current president, who's been in office before, that he's fully aware of how, to manage the governance environment to be able to deliver on the things that he promised.
I think one of the key things that plays a very major role in all of these conversations, in fact, if you put the president somewhere, you would be left with the appointees and what support they are likely going to be giving to the president to succeed. Our next conversation, I want us to be looking at that, but I want to let you know so that you take that into, perspective for me. But let me come to you, Asai Kwame. I believe that everybody's excited about, majority of the people are excited about what is going on right now, because telling people I want to do A, B, C, D, and fulfilling them, and coming to give an account makes a lot of sense. But then also, we've seen major conversations around commissioning. We've seen major conversations around, I've launched this, I've launched that. But execution, or in the future, how these things reflect in the lives of people, we don't usually see them. In fact, the NPP said that they've done so many roads, they've done all of that, but the people will go and sit somewhere and say, there's another road over here, there's this road over here, which has not been executed. Are we worried? Is the NDC worried? Is the government worried that of all the launches and all of that, we are not able to, or will not be able to execute it the way that people want it to be executed? Is this something the party thinks about?
Well, I think that the best advice for us as NDC is that, if Ghanaians have done anything consistently so far in the Fourth Republic, it is the fact that they do not tolerate failures in governance, corruption, arrogance in governance, stuff like that. They don't take lip service and stuff like that. They would vote you out. So I think it is not lost on us.
Okay.
That we need to.
You only 4 months, by the way.
Exactly.
You know how they say when people get comfortable, some of the mistakes and some of the things that happen in that process. I don't know if.
Yes, but it's very difficult to get comfortable when there's a pattern of people getting comfortable and Ghanaians showing them the exit. It becomes clear to you that you cannot get comfortable. And so for the first time, you see, like I said, the third time, the president sent a direct warning to his appointees. In just 120 days is when he launched the Code of Conduct. And that is also unprecedented in the Fourth Republic, because it gives you your do's and don'ts.
In 2013, we had the same thing, isn't it?
Not really in this,
Okay, well, I saw a tweet by the president in 2013 that he actually launched a Code of Conduct. Some people even believe that the NPP would have taken up that Code of Conduct, which of course a lot of people they didn't do so. So I see people make reference to we've seen this Code of Conduct before, which was dated as far back as 2013.
Yeah, but
the same President John Dramani Mahama.
Yes. But you see, in this case, well, President Mahama, I don't want to talk about the 2012 to 2016.
No, I'm making reference to the same code of conduct that with that issue of we've seen it before. Did we follow it through? We saw what happened.
But you know that, that's why I'm saying that when it comes to implementation, he has met his appointees 3 times in just 120 days.
So it has more serious to solve the issues now.
He has sanctioned people who failed to
adhere to
parts of the code of conduct.
Yeah.
You know, by forfeiture of, you know,
their salaries.
Yeah. 3 months, I believe.
And we still have 48 hours for those who have not done to be sacked.
Yeah. So I think it's not business as usual. But let me say that I would also sound some. I mean, give some advice to my brothers in the MPP. Sometimes, you know, they forget that Ghanaians, you know, still remember what has happened, you know, and it's only 120 days now. And some of the things that we are going through as a nation now, you cannot lay it squarely, you know, as a blame on the current administration. And I'll come to that. So let me touch on a few things that my brother said. Termination of appointments. I want to go through that for the benefit of your viewers. The termination of appointment, we made it very clear that those who have found their way onto employment after December 7th, it shouldn't be that way. You can't commit the nation to thousands of employment. You remember when Kufuor was leaving, that was when he implemented the transition period. He started implementation of the single spine. If you remember that. That brought a huge, because it ballooned the wage bill.
But they disagreed on all fronts.
You know.
And not all of them found themselves in that situation.
Well, if you can,
there were others that were way before.
If my brother can talk about maybe 1 or 2, and we don't have a whole list of...
You mentioned a couple of names.
Yes, we don't have a whole list.
Are those people...
And you see, these ones, the government does not even... The ones that he's saying that, oh, legitimate employment, government does not have the power to remove people who are legitimately employed. If you do that, you are only wasting your time. It's just a question of time. The Labour Commission will overturn it. In a sense that there are very strict laws in this country that shows that somebody who is employed has gone through the probation period and all that. You cannot let go of such a person. You would even end up paying the person for the time at home. So let's not kid ourselves. I don't know which Safo Mafo we were talking about here. Is it the one that was at NCA?
Yeah.
The one that was NCA was a government appointee. He was a deputy director general. You understand? Just like
he couldn't have stayed.
Well, here's the thing. He was a deputy director general. I was the executive secretary, gone through Public Service Commission interview. President Akufo-Addo appointed somebody without even removing me in February when he came. So it's a different thing we are comparing here.
But we seem to be repeating the same thing that has been done in the past.
Well, here's the thing. If you are ruling, you need people
if the president did to someone some years back,
I'm not
should
saying
we go in
that
the same way? Was it legitimate?
We know that we have political appointees. And then, because the way he presented it, it will look as if the person is a public servant who has been let go, you know, like ordinary public servant. But director general, CEOs and stuff like that, deputy CEOs and what have you, these are political appointees. Just like you don't expect the government to come and decide that he's going to extend the time of the finance minister, because he needs people who share in his vision, you know, who can help him accomplish his vision to work with at a certain level. So let's not bring that to the level of people who have been sacked. No. Those people who have been asked to go are people who, after the elections, were hurriedly put on the government payroll. And that is where we have. And I also want to touch on the 14% electricity and what have you. I haven't verified this, but these
It is the case. I mean, it came, I think, a couple of weeks back, the 14% and then 4%.
This is 14% increment?
Yeah, on the ECG, electricity, and then 4%.
Which is an increment on utility bill.
Yep.
It is not the same as you can't compare, you are comparing apples and oranges. When we scrap taxes, these are taxes that are going into revenue mobilization for government. You understand? And the e-levy, you see, the NDC, both the NDC and the MPP judge the e-levy, all these taxes we are talking about, as nuisance taxes. Because Dr. Bawumia even promised to remove these ones. I don't know which party he belonged to, by the way. If you can remind me, he was a member of the same government that imposed the e-levy on Ghanaians. But he promised to remove them as if he was running against his own government. So you see that the increment in utility bills is different from taxes. And we all know that these increment in utility bills are managed by institutions that are not looking at even the political landscape or what have you. You understand? So let us understand that very well. When it comes to Galamsey, the noise we made and all that, of course, there's tax, legislation that we say will pass. They are still in the workings. Some are in the draft stage, and some have been presented. But let me also say that in Galamsey, we have chalked on successes. I don't want to sound like a broken record. I have said it here and again, that the measure of the mudiness of the water rose as far as to 14% stability under the MPP. As we speak now, we've been in office for only 120 days. It is down to 8,000. So at least that shows forest reserves. They said the no-go forest reserves, there were 6 or whatever, 7. We have managed to clear almost all of them at the moment. And we set a rapid response team to go behind to see whether there will be people going back and they will deal with them. So far, we discovered that people went back, so it's being worked on. It is not the same as the past, where we have excavators seized and government appointees and party functionaries found those excavators and rather took them into the field to go and mine illegally. And by so doing, rendered the work of the Galamsey task force useless in the sense that they were such high-profile government officials that they could not touch them. And it undermined the whole fight for Galamsey. Okay. And I am not the one who said this. It is their own. What's his name? The professor of the heart surgeon who was tapped to fight Galamsey. What's his name? Frimpong. You know, he is the one who made this commentary, not me. So I beg you. Okay. Let me also
wrap up and let me do some messages and we'll come back.
The energy sector, we were shedding power before, the whole of 2024, as a matter of fact, there was power load shed. Just that, unlike, what was happening in the past was that when you go and ask the minister in charge of energy, he said, go and bring your own timetable, so arrogantly. And these are the things that Ghanaians, because Ghanaians could see that things were happening.
So we're dealing with almost the same issue now.
I want to also say that we have not added even 2% to the energy debt. It is the debt that is creating a problem for us. The car powership is now saying that they cannot continue to run on the promises of government. So they want to see payment. Those payments of which 99.9% of them accrued during the MPP era. And they are today threatening to cut power. So you see that we do not, if there is any problems in the energy sector, you can put a label on it and say made in Ghana by the MPP administration. It is not the doing of the NDC. What we are rather doing is having the necessary dialogues, making the necessary payments that was supposed to have been made some years back to ensure that we maintain our energy. The 24-hour police patrol is not the same as having checkpoints and what have you. I don't know whether anybody has spent some time in Manhattan. One of the things I really liked when I was in the US is Broadway Place. So I found myself in Manhattan around 2 a.m., 1 a.m. When you go there, it's just like what you see in the afternoon. Yeah. I mean, activities go on and whatever, police sirens, and you can hear them and everything. I think the NPP hasn't gotten their hands wrapped around what we are talking about yet. We are talking about, providing security for people to work as though it is during the day. So it's a different thing from having checkpoints and what have you.
I think the explanation has been an issue almost every time that this 24-hour economy comes up. This one says this one agrees, this one, the next moment the NPP disagrees, and then we'll keep moving on in that circle. But I don't know how best we can handle this moving forward. But let me engage our viewers a bit, and then I'll come back to you, read a few messages and what they say. You can also send your messages to us, our WhatsApp line. We're streaming live on Facebook as well. You can also let us know what you think about the issues. This one over here says, good morning, Mr. Host. I think the president has been honest to us. How? Listening to him yesterday night, he elaborated that he has done and the things in process. Now, the ones that he did not do. So to me, he has been honest to us. Again, tell Senyo and the NPP should stop this propaganda of there is and give the president space, because we Ghanaians know the debts they left at ECG. And that's okay, he goes on and says the NPP should rather stop their propaganda and arrogance to the opposition. All right, you didn't add your name to that. Let me go to this one. It says, good morning. I am Haj from Yendi. I was at a loss listening to the president last night. It's like he is still in the campaign mood, because all that he sought to do was more or less rehash what he said he would do. He had an opportunity to address Parliament on solar, and the 24-hour economy didn't find space in his address to Parliament. The finance minister also presented the budget statement to the House, and the same thing happened. And you ask yourself, who is the president deceiving? Again, he promised to scrap the COVID levy. Nothing happened to that. So why didn't he talk about it during his address? Can't we describe that as deceptive? Okay. This one says, good morning, Mr. Host. I like the panelists this morning. They are just doing justice to the issues, but I disagree with the NDC man on the issue of Galamsey, and that's Achu from Akwese. All right, Achu, thanks for sending me in there. Let me go to this one. It says, KMJ, how many times have I said we should stop talking about the party which lost Basa? Look at how the NPP guy is shivering like if it. The way you guys come with this kind of comments, sometimes I don't know. How can the president repair this country that was totally broken down by Nanado and Bawumia in just 120 days? The NPP couldn't fix the things that he is talking about in 8 years, but want President Mahama to fix that in 4 months. Popo Bibli has caught up with them, and they cannot forget how they were defeated Basa in the issue of our country's elections. They can shout their lungs out anytime they speak. We don't care. And that's Mwat Insider Assessor Lembele. Let me go down. Some
Popo Bibli. Popo Bibli.
Popo Bibli.
Popo Bibli.
I don't understand this.
Popo Bibli.
I don't understand that. Good morning, KFG. 120 days of deception and hardship. Since Mahama took power, prices of goods and services keep going up, but they try to deceive us with drop in fuel prices and strong cedi. But what is the essence of having a strong cedi or low fuel price when it doesn't relieve us from the hardship we're facing? Richie P. in Techiman says so. And Richie is, I'm sure, is talking about direct impact in the pocket. Well, at the end of the day, it still comes back to that. Now, good morning, KMJ. Mensa Majid is in Bechemin. It says, MPP communicators are frustrated in JDM 120 days, so I'm not surprised to see some of them bleeding like the communicator in your studio this morning. 120 days of JDM is a remarkable achievement, and we need to applaud him for that. The best grade for this remarkable achievement should be A, and any score below 85% is fake. My regards to Honorable Charles Akwesi, SCA2. This one over here has listed a lot of things. I want to be sure. It says Mahama's first 120 days do so on the rise. Mass sacking and termination of appointment, freezing of employment in the public sector, increase in Galamsey activities, missing containers of public institutions, cocaine scandals, Rambo-style raids and abuse of power, COVID-19 levy still being charged, and increased special import levy, 14.75% increase in electricity tariffs in doing so, 4.2% increase in water tariffs, increased lawlessness, hooliganism, looting, banditry, and insecurity, increase in market and domestic fires, assault on the judiciary, Obuasi massacre, cocoa prices maintained, Keta vein swallowed by the sea, family and friends appointment, public officials flying abroad for medical care, accepting gifts in the form of cars and private jet, travels from his friends and brothers, and it goes on, it goes on, it goes on, it goes on. I'm sure also will answer some of those messages over there. But this one says, good morning, KFG. The president has a big hole in the front of him to fill up, and he shouldn't be in haste. Most of Ghanaians are looking up to see that social intervention program policies that every citizen in their small village will benefit from it. How many people will benefit from the programs and the policies the president mentioned yesterday? In fact, we were told the standard of living in Ghana is high. The price of one ball of kinky is high. Price of cement is high, and the economy is not reflected in our pocket. That is why Ghanaians voted the NDC to power. But now things are rather higher, and the standard of living is now higher, and we refuse to talk about it. Shame on us. 24-hour economy is crying. Doom so. Collins Mauleme Ganyo sent in that. Musa says that President Mahama and his cabinet deserve commendation for their tireless efforts in delivering real results within just 120 days. So far, so very good. About 95% of their promises have been fulfilled. Even the Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA, known for being critical, has acknowledged this progress by awarding President Mahama a B+, the assessment which includes the performance of the city. This is a clear sign that the government is on the right path. Let me go to this one. Yes, says, good morning, Joy Prime. So far, so good. The administration of the President Mahama is transparent to the people of Ghana, and the social contract he promised has been delivered, and we expect more to be done. We wish him all the best. And the MPP rep should give us a break. It's too early to judge him. Double standard and hypocrisy must stop in this country. Governance is a serious business, not family and friends. We saw in the previous administration from BGA in Tamale Central. All right. This one says, please, KFJ, let Senyo know that those increments are coming from their wicked government IMF conditionalities. Even when the MPP was in power, IMF made you to increase tariffs every 3 months, and we Ghanaians know it's not from JM. KFJ, please, where did you get this? Okay. We voted the MPP out, and we're happy for getting a listening president, Master Rahman, Tuna Sola, Tuna Kalba sent in that. Master Rahman, let's just pass our comments without any reference to anybody in a different way, okay? Good morning, KMJ. I think the hypocrisy of some folks is getting out of hand. Have you noticed that the Daily Guide paper is always reporting negative of this administration and always taking stories of the opposition? Just look at their headlines from 2024 till now. Rich from Voter Region sent in that. This one says, can you tell the NDC man that they haven't done anything about the dollar, their own BOG? Governor said more work was done in the last 8 years by having more gold to boost the dollar from Ishmael Opari from Takrady. Maybe I'll do the last one and then we'll continue our conversation. Good morning, KMJ. So far, so good in 120 days. Going forward is as important as the beginning. I wish JGM and his government well. Stephen Nopoku and Saki come sent in that one. All right, I'll come back and read more of your messages. All right. Let me go on Emmanuel Senyo and find out from him. One thing I want us to look at, and I mentioned this before we had the conversation with Osei Kwame. Do you think that the appointees of this government, I mean, we've seen them, we've seen the ministers and all of that. Do you think that these people are capable, for the names that you've seen, they're capable in helping the president achieve his mandate?
I think that when you talk about whether they are when you talk about their capability or whether they are capable or not, I think that it lies in the bosom of the president. I believe that before somebody is appointed into a particular position, the person is assessed in terms of the merits and the merit of the person, in terms of the person's capacity. A few background checks are done of these people before they appoint them. So for me, regardless of, there are some few that I think that probably people will have issues with, or probably we may have issues with. However, I think that he thinks that these are the best in terms of who man what and who does what. So for me, he's getting it. I must personally say that there are some appointments I'm personally happy about, especially when it comes to, as a young person, I'm very happy in terms of a few appointments that he's done. And I want to say kudos to him. Just like the former president, Nana Akufo-Addo, who gave opportunity to the young people. I think that John Dramani Mahama is equally doing the same by giving opportunity to some young people, and he deserves all the commendation. I believe that these young people have the capacity. One latest one that came has to do with Julian Kobina-Mausi. Julian Kobina-Mausi is the board chairman for the National Youth Authority, a very young gentleman that I've known for over a decade now, who's been in the student activism. We've all been in the activism together, and I think that he's a very fantastic guy. I'm told that he actually led their youth manifesto, so I'm not surprised that I think that this guy has actually worked hard. And the president knowing very well his capacity. Why not? It's a very strategic place that he has placed him, and I believe and wished him very well. I want to see him deliver. Like I said in my earlier submission, nobody will wish doom for this government. As far as we are all Ghanaians, we want the best to be done. It doesn't mean that because my party is not in power, then I'll say that, oh, I want NDC to fail and all of that. No, we all want the NDC to perform, because if they perform, it goes in the glorification of Ghana. It goes to the betterment of everyone. We want them to perform so that it can reflect in our pockets. That is exactly what we want to see. So kudos to them. They are doing well. Appointment, so far so good.
So far so good, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Doc, I'm going to come back to you in a couple of minutes. Let me go on Zoom and speak to Geoffrey Kaputu-Okansi. He's Executive Director, Revenue Mobilization Africa. I want to find out a few things with regards to the taxes, the impact that is going to be having in the coming days. Like we've seen right now, how the city is doing as against the dollar. Geoffrey, if you can hear me, a very good morning to you. Hello, Geoffrey, can you hear me? Okay, I think, if you can hear me, unmute your microphone so I can also hear you. Hello, are you there? Okay, when I'm able to pick you up, I'll get that conversation going. But let me swiftly come to Doc and find out. Doc, the president is as important as the ministers. The ministers is as important as the president. And give me a minute. Sure. Hello, Geoffrey, can you hear me?
Hello, I can hear you clearly.
Awesome. Great. I'm grateful for your time this morning.
A very good morning to yourself and your wonderful panelists out there. And kudos to Joy team.
Thank you so much.
I went to your online, I saw your analysis. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. Now, we've seen some, good things happening to the dollar. We have seen the president take away certain taxes, which of course a lot of people are looking forward. People are looking forward to seeing, reflect in their pockets in the coming days. The city is doing well as against the dollar. In your opinion, what do you think is contributing to this?
You mentioned the removal of the taxes. Actually, cutting down the weight, the tax burden on Ghanaian citizens was very key. Okay. I think we will also have to look at the angle of the cutting down of expenditure, government expenditure. That was also very clear when you saw the cut down the size of government. Also, the need to also look at the issue of the cutting down on some of the celebrations that we all applauded. These were efforts that we saw that government was doing, that we thought they were on track. The declaration of assets. I'm looking at some of the things around revenue and the fiscal issues. When you declare your assets, actually it's a way of checking corruption. And then the actions against corruption that has been so far going on is also clear. It's one thing collecting revenues and then like taxes and all those things into your kitty. It's another thing efficiently, effectively applying what you've collected. So issues of corruption around national fiscal growth is very important that we talk about it. And I think the government has shown some efforts around there. the National Economic Dialogue actually produced some of the ways forward, the action plans. And I think the president has stuck to some of the things that came up from there. You rightly mentioned about the issue about the dollar.
Yeah.
This is a very clear indication that something right is going on. I think like the Bank of Ghana governor rightly said, some of the things, some of the efforts they have done around, using the gold balance, I think it's been good with what they have been doing with all that. But indicatively, you've seen a drop of the weight of the dollar on the cedi. So the cedi is appreciating against the dollar. I think it's a very good indication. Beyond that, inflation from yesterday, we got the figures. I mean, there's been a significant reduction in inflation. That's also another sign that, once automatically you are on track, you'll be seeing some of these macro indicators. But like my brother in the studio rightly said, personally, how does it affect you? Automatically, we are also seeing some drop in fuel prices. So we kind of see these things as positive indicators. It's one thing having a halt. The prices jump. So when you see a halt in it, it's one effort. The next thing is when there's a reversing trend. That's another plus. So I think within this period, what about these things that we can say now is about some of the initiatives that the president said within 120 days he was going to do, and we've seen him bullet after bullet. We are checking him. If my calculations are right, about 28 of the promises that he made, I've seen him go out and roll out 19 of them. 3 of them are ongoing, and then there are about 6 of them that are yet to start. That's to say, some of it being the social interventions that you have seen. The importance of social interventions in this economic discussion is that it lifts up the financial burden on citizens, and then it actually improves compliance in the sense that majority of the Ghanaians that your cameras captured ahead of the election, we're telling you some of them want to see what their tax monies are doing. So if directly they are benefiting from what they've contributed, it explains further to you why persons are paying tithes in churches, but they cringe when it comes to paying of taxes. So people pay taxes. They are complying well when they see what you are using their tax monies for. Again, if you were looking at the president activating something on the Women's Bank, it means that, the gender balance globally, these are things that people are looking forward to. The National Apprenticeship Program, it's a very pathetic situation that in a country like Ghana, we have 14% unemployment rate amongst youth. I mean, the young population that you have, if 14% are not engaged, it is a problem. So if you have a program that is going to be looking at giving 1 million coders program, that's something that you'll be applauding. But you see, activating some of these things is good. He's activated them, but we need to follow them through. Okay, you've seen that they've allocated some funding to it. Majority of the time, the problem of this country has been after giving the promise, accelerating efforts at it, and then operationalizing it. How do we implement them? Then the problem starts. That is where you can see problems with corruption issues. So that's why I told you that the issues of corruption that have been tackled so far gives me hope that we need to applaud and follow up. So you and I, this is the time of our duty. The next thing to look at is actually the Black Star experience. I'm enthused because a country like Egypt focuses on tourism to make about 80% of their profits, their national revenue. So if you want to see all these things that we have, the mountains, you have the rivers, you have all the beautiful environment, you have Mole Park and all the rest, you have Achimota Park in the heart of the city of Accra. If you were managing these facilities very well, people will just come and look at them. You don't need to go and replant trees in Mole Forest. They are there. You don't need to go and put elephants there. They are actually living in the wild. People will come and watch the Buti Falls, watch the Huli Falls, and give you money. And that's the power of tourism. So there are 3 areas I've always mentioned: tourism, construction, agriculture. And I've seen this government do a lot of energy in those areas. It is not to clap and go and sleep. It's to tell them and follow up that they will do what you expect them to do. I saw Accelerated Export Development Council. They need to do a lot of work. We need to export more. From primary school, you and I were told that when we export more and import less, we'll make profit. So that's where the direction is. But that's to say, if we went to sleep, then we have a problem. But the problem again here is that I've seen some of this that has not started in full swing, like a 24-hour economy. You know, I'm one of the proponents of the night and dawn economy, even ahead of the NDC coming out with their 24-hour economy. So for me, I'm looking deep eye, eagle eye open to see how they are going to run that economy, because it's not novel. It's actually in operation in some areas, like in the pharmaceutical area, like in the transport area, there's already VIP and the rest doing 24 hours. It is actually to add incentives, like some of the financial support to these organizations, and also to create that security environment for them, and then make some inputs to expand that area. That's very important. And then for the business community, they are looking at the review of the Act 2020 that bans, you know, the importation of salvaged vehicles. So these are the outstanding ones. For the LAMSE and the environmental and climate issues, we are looking at actually the repeal of the Act 2462. And so the president in yesterday's presentation told us that he's going to work out about it. But again, on table, he's not achieved that one. So these are the ones that are outstanding that I look forward to, that the president will be looking at, you know, working on them. You know, I think it's very important.
Okay. All right. Geoffrey, let me find out from you before you take leave of us. One of the significant things that you mentioned that we've seen, and I also mentioned the same thing, is the cedi appreciation. What do you think, in your opinion, that the Bank of Governors or the government is doing right, that is making us see this significant, you know, results?
You know, one of the things that affect this country when it comes to the cedi issue is the hoarding. I want to believe that people there's a little panic when it started dropping. There's been a little panic, and people are bringing it out. Okay, that means, you know, people have lost a lot of money with the drop. This drop could be the check of the forex, the black market. You know, the black market sometimes contributes to the big chunk of the problem. They actually quote prices on the market. They are doing illegal money sale. So if you were doing that, I mean, they won't come and put on telly to show us the crackdowns they are doing. But I'm sure the Bank of Ghana and the operatives are doing some crackdowns. While you are it's a mix of activities. While you are on that one, you are actually maybe exporting more, and then also getting some forex to actually come and you know, mop up the situation. And then again, persons can only panic and then bring the money out. In fact, if you were hoarding huge amounts of dollar, and just within a week or two, there's a drop, even 10 pesos different can make a big fall for you. So actually, that's why I'm seeing people panic and throwing the dollar out. Again, I'm sure with the boost in production, some of the goods that are on the markets are also doing well. I think production is going high. I think that if you give credits, you'll be very unfair if you do not give some of the credit to the past administration. I'm sure they started some of the efforts that, you know, go for oil, and a few, maybe it might not have been highly significant, but then it's made, you know, it formed the base. Some of these things that the continuum, as we've always said, government is a continuum. So I'm sure that these efforts that have been multiplied upon what has been started would be the base. But I tell you, if you are a government and you cut down your expenditure, you cut down and block the holes of corruption. And indeed, we've done 120 days. I am yet to hear any scandal. Let's not downplay those ones. The problem of this country, the biggest chunk of our problem, comes from corruption. So if you are checking that one, automatically, it means that you are not losing some of the forex you've gained already. And you are not piling up debts on your head. Once you're not piling up debts, you are free, you're moving a little bit and managing the old debt. That takes stock management. That's a very important area. So I think right now, if you ask me to rate the government, I'll say they've done about 75%.
75%, you say?
But because of the outstanding ones, but some of the challenges. Sorry, sir?
No, I was asking, I was trying to confirm, is 75% what you said?
Yes, I'll give them a 75%, and then I would look forward to them hitting an 80 or 85% if they actually come and add the rest. As a country, we cannot boast of anything around 90% of any delivery. We have challenges.
Very well.
Systems will not even allow you. Individuals will be falling back. And I think we are on track. But you and I have a duty as citizens, media, CSO. We need to track all the things that the promises that have come out. The social intervention is a good indication, but ensure that it is properly targeted at those who must receive it. You know, like something like scholarship schemes. Who is it going to? Are there courses that we are running here that we can, get the people to attend, rather than giving somebody to go and study management, which is actually running our universities here? All these things, if you cut all them away, you get some money back.
Geoffrey.
And I think if we move like this, we will be good.
Geoffrey, thank you so much. Of course, my time, I can't hold you on furthermore. So thank you so much for...
Thanks for having me and thanks for the opportunity.
For us. I really appreciate it. I'm grateful. Geoffrey Gapute Okase is Executive Director, Revenue Mobilization Africa, RMA. Now, let me come back to studio. Doc, probably you're going to have a closing comments for us. Now, I was asking earlier that do you see the appointees helping the president achieve everything they've said to achieve in the coming days with regards to those that have not been fulfilled yet?
I do, and they also have no choice but to help the president achieve the things that not only in his 120-day social contract, but over the next 4 years, right? There's a reason why the president has selected who he has selected to serve either as ministers, deputy ministers, heads of SOEs, things like that. I mean, they are the people who are the frontline executioners, not in a bad way, but the frontline executioners of the president's agenda. And therefore, he's placing not only faith and trust in you, but also giving you that responsibility of saying, whatever priorities I have in education, in the environment, in
the energy sector,
wherever it is, he's counting on you to make sure that you can deliver, and you will deliver. So that would be, for me, they are very critical to the success of the president's agenda. What he would also need to do then is that if at some point he realizes person A, person B, you're not helping me, I don't think that you can help me deliver on my agenda, for me, he would have to hold them accountable. If it means moving them somewhere else, or if it means replacing them.
Do you see that happening? Do you see mass reshuffling? Because it's got only 4 years. And so maybe the pressure will be that if you're not doing anything in the next maybe 2, 3 months, 4 months, or 6 months, I will be forced to actually do this. You see that happening? Is it going to be mass, reshuffling?
So maybe not necessarily mass reshuffling, but I also hope that every so often the president would take a look at his team and say, okay, I'm happy with what is going on in education, so I'll leave you there. Maybe I have concerns in this other sector. Perhaps I need a different hand, or maybe I need to have a conversation with the sector minister to say, can you step up? But when all is said and done, two things will always be very important: how well these appointees help him execute his agenda, but also how he also holds them accountable for any sort of deviations, lapses, or dissatisfaction with the way he thinks they are serving in office. Because as he said, I think Ghanaians have reached a point where they wouldn't hesitate to pull the lever on you.
But it's going to take four years to do that.
Yes, but at least you have that on your mind.
Would have been done already.
That's true, right? But at least you have that on your radar to say, look, these days Ghanaians expect us to deliver on the things we say we would, and if we don't, they will hold us accountable. You're correct. It's a 4-year thing, right? But that also says that in between those 4 years, there are other things that citizens, the media, can do. But there are also things that the president can do in holding his appointees accountable instead of waiting for that 4 years when the dissatisfaction has hit a crescendo and you can't do anything about it. Some of those mid-course corrections, I think, also helps maintain some goodwill with the people who put you in office.
We've seen many of the percentages come up and all of that. Doug, how much percentage are you rating?
So for me, I won't give a percentage, but what I would say is that I truly and honestly believe that the president is making genuine efforts to put his second presidency on the right path. I believe that there are some key things that he wants to accomplish over the next 4 years. Some of his policy priorities, I believe, are in the right direction, on matters of governance, on matters of the economy. time would eventually tell the extent to which this agenda succeeds in a way that would make a difference in the everyday lives of not even just Ghanaians, but our entire democracy architecture. I'm hoping that, as he said, nobody wants their government to fail, nobody wants their country to fail. But again, I appreciate the fact that he's setting his government on the right path, and I just hope that his policy agenda will be successful.
In essence, you also probably disagree with this percentage, 72%. You think it makes sense?
That's from Daily Graphic.
Yes.
Right. So I'm sure it's a check of
exactly like you mentioned earlier.
So that's not a wrong way to make an assessment, a basic assessment of. You said you do 26 things. Which of those 26 things can you check off? The most important question for me that I would still go back is, people are waiting to see what difference
that percentage makes on the
exactly. And for me, that would take more than just 120 days for people to start feeling that. But it is also just important to demonstrate that this is how you want to approach your government and the way you want to govern the country.
Very well. What percentage you bring to the president for this? You've not said any percentage yet.
Yes, because you've not asked.
So I'm asking you now.
But if I would give him a percentage, I would want to probably rate that based on the blue water guards. They actually form or commission a blue water guards. I was actually expecting them to name them green water guards. Unfortunately, the same government that complained bitterly about the water guards in a then government, today they have done a PR gimmick by just removing the water guards and adding another name, saying that it's blue water guards. I think that so far so good. These guys have not done anything, because we've seen the Galamsey work still going on. Erastus and the rest are the ones doing the work. So when you ask me, I would say in terms of rating, I'll tell you that so far so good. He's done well. He's done good. And if you're a student and your lecturer is giving you good, you can deduce that from the grading system and then.
You still haven't said it.
No, if your lecturer tells you, I'm sure these are my senior brothers are here, they are lecturers. When a lecturer tells you that it's good, you can deduce that from your grading system.
Good, what percentage are we looking at?
You said it's good.
It's good, yeah, it's good. So far, it's good.
My mentor says whenever you're asked to describe an elephant, it depends on where you're standing. So good is relative. So will you take 80 as good?
No. If you look at the University of Ghana and the rest, their grading system, good has its own percentage. So can you look at the university's grading system? You know where good.
That is giving you a very good.
No. That is too much.
Obama Nation says good morning, your lovely listeners, especially the great people of Ward K. In fact, the president, John Dramani Mahama, 120 days in office is better than Nana Akufo-Addo's 8 years in office. My regards to my lovely father, Honorable Ahaj Alassane Suini, the Deputy Minister for Roads and Highways. Now, Hamza says that, good morning to you, KMJ. Now we can all see that our country is now in the hands of competent and good, God-fearing people. Everything is now moving in the right direction. And Ni says that Senyo Nana sacked those who wished to sack when he took over. Did you question or applaud him sarcastically like you're trying to do this morning? Yes, there's time to say enough is enough. And until people learn to think and act right, it will continue to the same. To continue the same. Should NPP ever repeat the same evil in the future? If you want to be taken seriously in life, be consistent. Condemn the NPP did wrong. So when the time comes for you to condemn the same wrong under the NDC, you may have a good case. Stop the empty noise because you don't make Musa says, okay, I think I read this on the other side. Asante Moro says, so now NPP communicators are now comedians. The guy sitting shouting should play back the video and watch. He will know he did not make sense at all. Just 4 months. Now, Teacher Kojo says that I will give Mahama and his NDC government 34% for their 120 days in office. Listen, how many times have they increased cement, electricity, and water bills? Just to mention a few, excluding food items and the other essential items. they failed to abolish the COVID tax, which was the main campaign message they used against the ruling government. Greetings to Chairman Aldinamu Kokuapia. Now, Master Planner says that the 120 days of President Mahama is the worst 120 days of governance in the history of Ghana. Most of the promises can even be achieved by girls preferred in SHS. How difficult is it to appoint your cabinet ministers? You already know in 14 days. Organized Education Forum, Economic Forum, these are not achievements. Those that will bring a change in the lives of people, like the free academic user fee for level 100, abolish taxes on vehicles, repeal of the LI 2462, etc. You couldn't do those ones, but resorted in event launching and ceremonies. Fix the doom so stop the galamsey and reduce the price of cement as you promised. NDC is a scam government. Now, okay, I think I've read a couple of those. Hakeem says that the president have really done a very good job. He should keep it up, you mean to say. Okay, this one over here says that the 120 social contract appears to be dishonest and more mere propaganda. During their campaign, they promised to combat galamsey using AI, but now their supporters are engaging in galamsey, destroying water bodies. They vowed to end doing so, but we are currently experiencing power outages. They campaigned on reducing the high cost of goods, but electricity bills have increased by 17%, and the bag of cement cost 150%. They promised a 24-hour economy would create jobs for Ghanaians and Ghanaian youth, but instead there have been terminations of appointments and a resurgence of unemployment associations. Why has cocaine and money laundering become prevalent during their tenure? They told us the first year tertiary students will be free, and it turned out to be false. They promised more women in government, but are now attempting to remove the Chief Justice based on nothing. Ghanaians, let us be vigilant. Mahama, stop galamsey now. All right, some of your messages on Facebook page. We're streaming live on Facebook, so we're grateful that you can also join us over there and share your thought with us. That will be all for this morning. I think we've done pretty good this morning. We're within, our time. So I don't know, maybe a quick 1 minute, well, especially you.
Let me say,
I know.
It is a remarkable achievement to have 120 days without any scandal. I mean, just suppose that to my brother 8 years ago, the inaugural speech itself. And somebody said that, a comedian said, he was confused that President Bush gives one speech and President Akufo-Addo gives the same speech and people are complaining. Compare that to the starting of just the inaugural speech itself being, plagiarized in this country, which brought national embarrassment to us. So I think that the fact that we haven't had any major issues so far, and I urge the appointees to continue with their good work and continue to serve, remembering all the time that their conduct would depend as to whether we keep our jobs or we don't. We all keep our jobs or we don't. Because the employer of this, their employer is not JDM. Because JDM's employment is from the people of Ghana. And the people of Ghana are watching. So they should continue to conduct themselves in a way that would inure to the benefit of the people of Ghana, so that we can all keep our jobs.
Okay. And any last thing you want to say? I'm told that we can do that.
Well, I would want to still talk about one or two other things.
No, don't talk about one or two other things. Just say you're doing it in 1 minute, actually.
So in 1 minute, what I want to say is that I've seen the allocation for Women's Bank.
Yeah.
I've seen allocation for some other stuff as well. I think that allocation is not implementation. Just as Geoffrey said, yes, there have been allocation, but let us still see it in real work. This is the only way we can say that indeed your promises are manifesting, because the Women's Bank was one of the mantra that they actually echoed in the ears of everyone. So I would want to see that manifesting. So far, I am not hearing much about it. I'm not seeing anything being done about it. So I want to see that being done. And yesterday, you saw a video trending about the education minister where he, I don't know where he got those figures from, that the then GS recruited about 39,000 people, gave out lectures to 39,000 people. I was wondering where he got those figures from. You see, recently they had education forum in Ho, where a lot of ideas were brought upon. But I asked myself, from February up to now, nothing drastic has been presented to us in terms of that forum that was, discussed. So for me, I think that the fora, conferences, committees, and things are becoming too much. We are seeing nothing out of it. Yesterday, the president was swift to tell us that, by the end of May, they will present us a report from the Education Forum. I think that is becoming too much. Like I said earlier on, all this charade of things they are giving to us is just like a normal diarrhea patient, where you know that you are running. And in order for you to control it more, all you need to do is to give a small antidote that will sustain you in a while whilst you get a lasting solution to what is wrong with you. So for me, the talking, the commissioning, the committees are becoming too much. They should get to the real work and deliver to us, and we'll all be happy.
Okay, all right. I'll take the last one from Doc. Anything you want to say?
No. So again, I mean, the president needs to, to stay focused. There are two things that I'm looking forward to in terms of how the government fully rolls it out is the 24-hour economy. Because that...
I think everybody...
Yeah, because that was a signature economic promise during the campaign. And so it will be very instructive to see how the government plans to implement it. I know there were some updates in his address yesterday, but you want to see that unified, coherent policy that says, now, here's how we're going to roll it out, and these are all the different components of it. The other quick thing I will add to is that what becomes of the reports that the Constitution Review Commission would send to him will be very instructive, because there are some governance challenges that if we are to address and fix them, we would have to do something, at least make some important reforms in certain areas of the Constitution. So I hope that whatever comes out of that process the response would not be thank you for the work done, but at least there would be that next step of now how do we, trigger the different processes that would allow us to make the necessary amendments to the Constitution. So for me, those are the two areas that...
And hopefully we wouldn't have to be debating about whether the president intends to have a third term.
Yeah, correct.
And on that note, let me share this info with you. This Sunday, on Big Chef Junior Season 4, Mother's Day edition, the first episode of the season, Mother's Day, will feature participants making meals with their mothers to honor and depict them as the foundation of the home. Now, a mysterious basket is being used for cooking. They must prepare everything they discover in the basket. You have 45 minutes to actually complete the cooking and plating of whatever is in the basket. It will be interesting, very, very interesting this Sunday at 4 p.m. Make sure you tune in. Let's celebrate mothers. And Big Chef is beginning and starting on a very, very interesting note. And also tonight at 9 p.m., BMPS is going to be on. Make sure you tune in. Kofi for the guys will be in. They've got some very, nerve-wracking, thought-provoking conversation, very witty, and you want to be a part of that as well. So please do well and tune in at 9 p.m. And I would like to say a big thank you to Franco Trading for making it possible for us to have this conversation. Of course, Newsflash is always proudly brought to you by Franco Trading Enterprise. Please look for us, call us. Our numbers on the screens. Download the app. It's the Franco Trading app, and of course, you can go on the website. It's www.francotrading.com, and you can buy your televisions, your CCTV cameras, your refrigerators, your air conditionings. You can get all of them from Franco Trading Enterprise.